Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. In this video, we want to talk about how LeBron James not only destroyed the NBA, right, in this era, because he wasn't good enough to be a leader or be clutch or have the skills to win championships by himself, but he destroyed the legacies of other great players that he played with. We're going to talk about that. And if you didn't see it, it's funny because Sports and Fitness France did a video today, and I was already going to do a video kind of different than what he did, but I seen it today later on that he did a video of all-time great teams. And I think it was the 90s, the 80s. I don't know if he got, I stopped watching the video. We'll watch the rest of it later. I don't know if he got into the 60s or the 70s, but he was just showing how all these great teams in past eras, how they were so great because they basically stayed together, right? And they stayed together, the core players stayed together for 6 to 10, 12 years, and then they would add other pieces. You know what I'm saying? And this is why these teams were great. Whether they won championships or not, they were great, formidable teams that even, the teams that didn't win championships, they challenged other championship teams or championship teams that did win championships. So you didn't have like teams winning championships back in the day, easily, right? You actually played great teams to win championships because most of your teams stayed together back in the day, right? They didn't run off and try to go build super teams or the star players or the core players didn't quit on their teams because they didn't win, right? And it kind of goes to what we're going to talk about today with LeBron James, how he not only destroyed the NBA from what it used to be, kind of like what Sports and Fitness Rant said about, teams staying together and being great teams, whether they won the championship or not. But he also destroyed other great players' legacy. Yes, some of them, went to the Hall of Fame, whatever like that, and were still great players, but they could have been even better if they didn't play with LeBron James. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I had made a video on Scap Attack when he went on FYF Sports and he went against, Lion Gilbert Arenas. And I mentioned in that video in 2009 how the Magic beat the Cavs and LeBron in 2009 playoffs, and then they went on to beat the Celtics. The big bad Celtics that LeBron couldn't beat, but Orlando beat them. But I said that they had beat LeBron, the Magic had beat LeBron's Cavs and then beat the Celtics. Well, it was the other way around. I got it mixed up. The Magic, they beat the Celtics first and then beat the Cavs. So it really don't matter which order they beat them in. The fact is that the excuse was that LeBron had to play the Celtics and it was a big three super team. And that's why LeBron couldn't beat them. Even though LeBron had the number 1 seed that season and was favored to beat them and go play Kobe in the finals. So either way you take it, yes, the Magic beat the big three Celtics before they beat the Cavs. Big deal. But I do, want to credit the guy who said that it was the other way around. It was, but it still don't take away the fact that the Magic beat them. And LeBron couldn't beat them the next season. Okay? Couldn't beat the Celtics the next season. So this is what I want to look at. So when we look at LeBron, when he went and built his super teams, because, of course he knew after 2010, he could never be a leader and lead a team to a championship. He could only be amongst other leaders to lead a team to a championship, right? And that he would only now be the face of the team, right? So I want to look at this. And I'm looking at these guys' accolades before they even went and played with LeBron James. So LeBron's first super team, we're going to include Ray Allen. Why not? Ray Allen hit that big shot. And why did he go and get Ray Allen? Because he's got so many shortcomings, folks. So many deficiencies. So Dwayne Wade, this is all before they played with LeBron James or LeBron James played with them. Dwayne Wade, NBA champion, Finals MVP, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive, and 1 scoring title. So let's stick on Wade. How many more championships do you think Wade would have won without LeBron James? Who knows? Who knows, folks? Who knows? Because LeBron probably ain't winning nothing without Dwayne Wade in his super team. He did go to more all-star teams without LeBron James. We got a question, I think because he only made All-NBA first team like 3 times maybe. How many more All-NBA first teams would he make if he didn't play with LeBron James? Remember, he's not really playing his style of basketball no more. And look, guys, I'm not trying to put all this separately on LeBron James. These guys are at fault for building these super teams with LeBron James. But I'm just saying, how many more All NBA first teams will Wade have if he didn't play with LeBron James, being that he's not playing his game? How many more scoring titles will Wade have if he didn't play with LeBron James? How many more? We don't know, because now he can't score the points he was scoring. Maybe more defensive teams. Maybe more defensive teams. We don't know. Chris Bosh, he was a 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA before LeBron James. And I'm not trying to say he was making all these All-NBA teams before LeBron, because I think one of them was only in 2007. But he continued to make All-Star teams without LeBron James. Okay, so we got to question how many more All-NBA teams would he have played, would he had without LeBron James, being that he's not playing his game. When we say he's not playing his game, he's no longer a leader of his team. Same thing with Wade. He's not playing his game. These guys were playing a certain type of game while they were leading their teams, right? So LeBron is going to play with other leaders, other number one franchise players of other teams that now need to change their game. Ray Allen, 9-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 3-point contest winner. Now, we can't say too much on this, but could Ray Allen made another All-Star team? We don't know. But that's an impressive lineup that LeBron went and played with. And we can already say he changed these guys' careers. They could have been more than what they was. Could they have won more championships or championships? We don't know. But, all NBAs, maybe. All NBA defensive, maybe. Let's get down to Kyrie Irving before he played with LeBron James. 2-time All-Star, All-Star MVP, Rookie of the Year, 3-point contest winner. What do you say about that? Well, if Kyrie would not have left, he left in 2017. We don't know how good his career could have been even more. Because he would have been, without LeBron James, he would have been putting up more points, more assists. Remember, this guy's assist is going to go down. And I know he ain't never been a big assist guy, but when you're playing with LeBron James and you're supposed to be a point guard, your assists go down. Right? So what I'm saying is he could have won a scoring title. Maybe he could have won, he could have got more All-NBA first teams. All this stuff. He left and then he had that debacle when he went to the Celtics. This adds onto his career as losses, right? As far as accolades. We got to think about these things, folks. Not saying that, we're not saying Kyrie isn't at fault with this. Kevin Love, 3-time All-Star, two-time All-NBA, most improved player, rebound leader, 3-point champion. Are you kidding me? Look what this guy had on his team before he played with these guys. 2 guys that won the 3-point contest. Are you kidding me? And he's got a guy that won a 3-point contest and was a rebound leader. This is insane, guys. This is insane. Why the guy was putting up, 20 plus points and 10 rebounds. So we already know this guy, LeBron James, ruined Kevin Love's career. He ruined it. And yes, Kevin Love ruined his own career by going to play with LeBron James. We're not just talking about championships. We're talking about something Kevin Love could have been all-time great, historically top 75 player, definitely Hall of Fame player. Ruined this guy's career. This guy pretty much went down the drain when he went and played with LeBron James. He went down the damn drain. And this is what happens too when you try to play with all these great players on one team. It doesn't happen in their prime. You can accept that when they're out of their prime, like the big 3 Celtics, like the Rockets of Akeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler. Yes, these guys are out of the prime, right? But to ruin these guys' prime like this, and when we look at it, Chris Bosh. This guy played a center position, power forward position or whatever like that. He could have had a great career like a Patrick Ewing because he could shoot the ball. Kevin Love could have had a career like Patrick Ewing, even though Patrick didn't win no championships. Still, folks, Patrick Ewing was still a great defender, a great offensive player, a great shooter, all these things. So let's look at this. AD, before he played with LeBron James, 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, three-time All-NBA defensive first team, three-time blocks leader, and All-Star MVP. You gotta. Oh my God. We know AD is top 75. Some people question that, whatever. But him playing with LeBron James, this guy could have been easily top 75 with no question. He could have been top 5 great centers of all time. This is what he could have had. Yes, he might not have won a championship. Who knows? But his accolades will be more. Maybe he would have been, instead of 3-time block leader, he would have been 5. Maybe he would have had more defensive teams without, missing years. Maybe he would have been all NBA first team more times. And when I say this, it's because these guys went from number ones on their team. And when you're number one, guess what? You're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. You continue to do your thing at a high level, whether it's scoring, blocks, defending, assisting the ball, all this stuff. It stops when you go play with LeBron James. He controls the ball. His teams don't play any defense. His teams play off of athleticism. His teams sit around while he dribbles the ball. He's got to get his 7 assists and 7 rebounds before anybody gets anything else, especially back in the days when we're talking about when he played with these guys or when he first initially played with these guys and stuff like that. So you're losing. Your performance goes down. And it's a reason why he wanted to go play with these guys, LeBron James, because these guys were high-level performers. Not that he knew, okay, I'm going to play with them and keep them as high-level performers. No, I need them to make up for my shortcomings and my deficiencies that I don't have. My high-level rebounding, my ability to shoot the mid-range, the three, the free throws, stuff like that. That's what he needs these guys for, folks. To take these last shots. Prove me wrong. What guys did he develop from the draft? He saw, when he was back in Cleveland the first time, right? He said, let me get second-tier guys, right? Number 2s from other teams, whether they were offensive players or defensive players or, Hall of Famers right out of their prime. Let me see what I can do with them. Nothing. He can't do nothing with them because they weren't these guys that I'm showing on the screen. They weren't no Kyrie Irving. They weren't Love. They weren't Dwayne Wade. They weren't Ray Allen. They wasn't Chris Bosh. They wasn't AD. They weren't number 1 franchise players of another team that was in their prime that could cover LeBron's deficiencies and shortcomings, like an Antoine Jameson, like a L. Gauskas, like a Boobie Gibson, like a Shaq. What's his guy's name? I forget the guy's name. He came over to Cleveland. A Ben Wallace, just out of his prime. All these guys, when you look back at it from the Cleveland days, they were good. Remember, all those trades that he got from 2005 all the way to 2010, they weren't guys that developed from the draft. These were guys from other teams, the Carlos Boozers. There's so many names. Wally Zerbiaks, we can't even remember them. They were either number 1s, number 2s, or Hall of Famers that was just out their prime that was on other teams that LeBron James got, folks. But it wasn't good enough because he needed other teams' number 1 franchise players in their primes. That's what he needed. So to me, we got to be real about it. We say this, we heard this a million times. And then when we look at their accolades before LeBron James went and played with them, that their career basically got cut short, or their career ended up being lesser than what it could be if they would stay on their own teams and be the number 1 player on their team, the number 1 franchise player that they were, and continue to lead their team. They would have been even great players, right? When we talk about guys who never won a championship, for instance, right? Reggie Miller, Reggie Miller, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, even when we look at guys who didn't win in their prime and had to go join super teams because they did lead teams, but the competition was great in that era. They didn't lead the team in their prime. When you look at Gary Payton, yes, he did end up winning. No, he didn't. Yeah, he ended up winning one with the Heat. When we look at Alonzo Mourning, when we look at, yes, he did win that one with the Heat, but he was way out of his prime. But what I'm trying to say is, when we look at these guys that LeBron James ended up playing with that messed up their careers of how greater they could have been, we're not looking at him like a Reggie. Now we're not looking at him like a Reggie Miller or a Patrick Ewing or a John Stockton or a Charles Barkley or a Karl Malone. Why? because they left, these guys that LeBron James left, they left in their prime and played with LeBron James and kind of messed up their careers. Because they could have been better and they could have, from leading their team and put up more accolades, put up more statistics. LeBron James basically messed up these guys' careers, right? And look, it just doesn't work out that way, folks. And it's been shown. It's been shown through LeBron James not being a leader to these guys. He wanted to go play amongst other leaders, other teams' number one franchise players. So he was just another one playing with other number ones, right? So in the end, it doesn't work out. One championship in 4 years with the Cavaliers. I keep saying 4 championships. 2 championships in 4 years with the Heat. And he's been with the Lakers how many? 6, 7 years with AD? 1 bubble championship, folks. See, with those guys all those years, other teams' number one franchise players, and mustered up 4 championships in all those seasons with all this great talent. And we only put up the numbers, what are accolades or whatever like that, before they played with LeBron James. Yes, they end up getting more accolades when they play with LeBron and after they played with him, but it's just an example of LeBron pretty much diminished these guys' careers because they don't practice. They want to beat you off of athleticism. They really don't play no defense. They got to stand around and do something they didn't never do before. They don't get to be the number one player like they was drafted to be, like they was already before they played with LeBron James. Goodness gracious. I mean, this guy, this is some great talent. And then let's get into this right here. How he destroyed the NBA with these same players, right? He takes these same players, right? Instead of the Bosh, the Wade, the Kyrie Irving, the Love, and the AD playing on their teams, their own teams as number ones in making the NBA competitive, he weakens the East. That's what he does. He weakens the East. What was it, eight straight years? 8 straight years with these guys. 1, 2, 4 players could have been playing on their own team, and he messed it up. Now I know Kevin Love played in the West, but still, he brings Kevin Love over there, and he makes the East weak because he's playing with another number one franchise player of another team. Luckily, he didn't get to do it for the West with AD. It hasn't worked out because it was better talent in the West when he came in there in 19, and that's why he didn't make the playoffs. We ain't say he had to win the championship, but you can't even make the playoffs. And it just shows when we're talking about all this talent that he ruined, he played with, he dismantled the East. It showed when he went to the West in 19 how good he was. He's not that good, folks. When he went to Cleveland the first time, when he got drafted to Cleveland, what happened? He didn't make the playoffs for the first 2 seasons. In one of the weakest East since the 1950s. And he had no excuse in the second season. He had an all-star teammate, but after the all-star game, he lost 19 of 31. And then he got to go get Larry Hughes. And they had to cut out defense. I mean, this has been a joke. He's destroyed the legacies of these other players to where they could have been leading their teams, being great, better competition in the NBA. He got other teams, other players now because of him to build super teams. What do you do, folks, if the face of your league is building? Let's just say Michael Jordan is building super teams after he couldn't beat the Pistons in 1990. Right? So he goes on a 4-year hiatus with 2 teams that he built super teams with and went to 8 straight finals. Michael Jordan did, building super teams with other teams' number one franchise players. So what is the rest of the league to do? What is Kevin Durant to do? What is James Harden to do? What is all the rest of these players to do if the face of your league is building super teams and ESPN is okay with it, Fox Sports is okay with it, the NBA is okay with it, the owners are okay with it, the coaches say nothing? What are we talking about? We're talking about a guy that literally destroyed the league because he couldn't develop players or take, number 2s of other teams like he was in Cleveland and win. He couldn't, folks. He couldn't do that. Okay? He couldn't do that. So he basically destroyed the league single-handedly because he couldn't be a leader. He couldn't, win and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to exempt the guys, the Kyries and the Loves and the Wades and all these other guys, the ADs. They were a part of it. They helped destroy the NBA. But he's the face of the NBA. He's supposed to be the best player in the NBA. So he gets all the blame. These guys are just doing whatever. And we all know why they built the first super team in Miami, because they even said it. Wade said it, that Kobe was winning all these championships. Kobe had just went to 3 straight finals with a fringe all-star, okay, no top 75 teammate, battling Lions and Tigers in the damn West. So they already knew. They already knew they didn't want to face Kobe, these guys coming out of the East, because who he was battling coming out of the West going into the finals. Right? So they already knew that they could not beat Kobe if they didn't have a super team assembled. They already said that. Wade already said that on the podcast. LeBron James, after he melted down in 2010 against the Celtics, we already heard the next day, right? Skip was on 1st and 10. Skip said that one thing that's good about it, that LeBron said at the beginning of the season that he was going to wear the number 6 going into the next season. What? That's what he wore in Miami. So it was already premeditated. It was already premeditated. LeBron James did not want to face Kobe Bryant in the finals because Kobe was going to destroy this guy, and not because he didn't like him. It's because he wanted what was his. All the dirt that was getting kicked in his eyes and them leaving him for dead. No. This man brought home the gold in the FIBA after the LeBron era guys couldn't do it in 06. Brought home gold in 08 after the LeBron guys couldn't do it in 04. And then railed off 3 straight finals and 1 back-to-back with no top 75 teammate. Beating the teams that beat LeBron James when LeBron James was the number 1 seed in the back-to-back MVP is And then the 90 mentality guys whooped up on LeBron James. Ooh, the guys that didn't build super teams, the Tim Duncans, the Dirk Nowinskis, even though he only played like 1 season in the 90s, he still had the 90s mentality, because then, even back in college or high school, they still was playing the 90s mentality type of basketball. Even coming into the early 2000s, it was a 90s mentality type of basketball, slow pace, defense, and stuff like that. And the problem was, like I told you guys, LeBron James never had a 90s mentality. Right, because he never went to college to play the best of the high school players, right? He didn't want none of that smoke. He's in academy school, dunking on academy school players. We told you before, doing dunks and layups, not killing you on the 3, the mid-range, or a good free throw shooter, nothing like that, folks. So we told you, in the NBA, you're playing against the best of college players. In college, you're playing against the best of the high school players. And in high school, who are you really playing? You're playing state. That's only in the tournament, really. Other than that, you're playing right there in your area. So yeah, he was in academy school, dunking on academy school kids, and blah, blah, blah. And the reason why the NBA let him build all these super teams, we don't know why, because they initiated him as the next. He's the most hyped player, more hyped than all these other players coming into the NBA. Could you imagine? More hyped than Wilt, more hyped than Bird, Magic, Jordan, Kareem, Hakeem, Magic. All these great players that came out of damn college, they're saying a guy that's dunking on academy school kids is more talented than those guys that went to college and played against great competition in college. And when they came into the NBA, had way better first seasons than LeBron James, a Wilt Chamberlain, a Bird, a Magic, a Kareem, a Jordan, Hakeem. You can go on down the damn list. This LeBron James rookie season don't even rank in the top 25 of rookies coming into the NBA. So it was a big fail. It was a minus 144 for the season, shot like 40% from the field, 20-something% from 3, 72% from the line, something like that. What? And if he didn't have all this hype and expectations, that's fine. He's just coming out of high school. But he did have all that hype and expectations, more hype than all the players I just mentioned. It's ridiculous. This man's career is made up. It's a made up failed career that he needed other number 1 franchise players of other teams to succeed. And not because he was battling great competition in the East. No, it's because he melted down and he choked and he won the leader and he had his skill set was small. When we talk about can't give you no paint work, can't shoot the free throw, can't shoot the mid-range, can't shoot the 3, what are we left with, folks? A poor rebounder for his height, for his position at 7 rebounds, a fake Magic Johnson. Quit saying Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson averaged 10 plus assists a game, gave you 7 rebounds, shot 50+% as a perimeter player, could give you a post game any day of the week, was clutch. What else? Could shoot the mid-range, 2 steals titles, nothing like Magic Johnson. Don't even try it. Magic Johnson didn't play in the damn era where you no-touch era. You kidding me? Magic Johnson then would have scored like 30, 15 assists, 10 rebounds. Magic Johnson should be insulted that this guy is compared to him, folks. And when we talking about a passer, you talking about Magic Johnson, not even John Stockton, not even Chris Paul, not even Steve Nash, not even Jason Kidd, not even a lot of these great passers. Mark Jackson, they're fooling you. They're playing Magic. Well, I forget what the name is called. Not Magic. I forget what it's called. But they're playing mind games on you, folks. They've been playing mind games on you with this guy. Up until 2012, when they were down with his super team in Miami, they were down 3-2. Boston, this old-ass Celtics Boston team, again, had a chance to close it out, right? They didn't. But before that game, here's Stephen A. Smith saying that, they should trade Bosh and Wade to the Lakers. In return, they get Kobe, so Kobe can teach LeBron how to be clutch, how to be a leader. All these things. Because, he said Dwayne Wade ain't getting through to him. So they need Kobe to come teach him. Could you imagine? This is what they were saying. Up until 2012, before he won his first championship, all you heard was this guy melting down, choking. When's he going to be clutch? When's he going to come through? When's he going to do this? When's he going to do that? And after 2012, he never really even did that. How can you do that with a super team? How can you win back-to-back MVPs on a super team? Would you give Michael Jordan back-to-back MVPs playing with Ewing and Barkley? So yeah, we never, because of this guy right here, we never got to see, 90s basketball, we never got to see 80s, 70s, and 60s NBA because this guy went around and broke up the league, right? Broke up the league by playing with other teams' number one franchise players and broke up the competitive balance. Not only because he did it, it's because other players end up doing it too because they had no choice. They had no choice. This was the new fab in the NBA. LeBron James not being able to carry a team and develop players and having to go play with other teams' number one franchise players. So other players said, hey, this ain't no real NBA no more. This ain't real competitiveness. Because the leader of the damn NBA ain't doing it. I mean, ain't doing it. Right? Ain't being competitive. Right? When we look at the last, the players that did this was the Kobe Bryants. The, Tim Duncans. They did it without super teams. And, you have some dudes do it after LeBron James. But those teams haven't been really consistent as great teams. Right? Your Milwaukee Bucks, your Denver Nuggets. And we'll see with the Boston Celtics. We'll see. But, when Sports and Fitness Rants was talking about in the 90s, how these teams stayed together for 6 to 8 years. You knew the players that was going to be there. It don't matter if they won a championship or not. That don't make you, great or lesser. It can make you great, but it don't make you less great because you didn't win a championship. It just shows how competitive it is. It just shows how competitive it is. Right? You talk about those Indiana Pacers in the 90s and all those teams, man. There's too many teams to name. You can go to any era, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. These guys stayed together, the core guys, for 6 or more years, 10 years, 12 years. Yes, you might have added a piece. But if you added a Hall of Fame piece, these guys were out of their prime. They were out of their prime. Don't even about no Big Three Celtics of the 2000s. Won the conference one time. One time. That's how old they were, folks. One time. And got beat by the Magic in 2009. Okay, and LeBron James obviously could have beat him if he was any kind of a damn leader in 2010. He pushed him to a Game 7 in 2008, playing like crap. Playing like crap. So basically, what I'm saying is, he lessened a lot of guys' career that were number one franchise players that he played with, and he messed up the balance of the NBA, whether it was in the East or they end up doing it in the West later on. So for the young people, when we talk about the 90s and the 80s, we've got to watch competitive basketball. Yes, Jordan had Pippen. He had to develop out of the draft, out of Central Arkansas, of all places. Was nothing in 88, 89. It was barely anything in 90. But when he developed, he got good. These guys, most of your players came from the draft that was core players. In the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, right? And they became a great team, right? And they might have had an old Hall of Fame piece that was out of his prime. and then added some secondary players or whatever like that. But I just feel sorry for this era right here because you really never got to see any competitive basketball. People act like Michael Jordan was just because most of his highlights is a lot of dunks because he's not bigger than anybody else. He's not stronger than anybody else. He's not taller than all these guys in the middle or nothing. Played in the no-touch era. It's just because what he had to do was score. What he did to score when he went to the basket, these incredible pump fakes and double clutching and crazy moves. So we like to see that. But Michael Jordan was killing these guys on the perimeter since he came in the league. So he wasn't just getting all these easy shots. It wasn't like that, folks. Nothing was easy back then because it was positional basketball. Everybody had a certain skill at every position. LeBron took that away from the NBA to where now we play, and for a long time, positionless basketball because he never had a real skill at any position, right? A good defender in a mid-range shooter at the power forward. Nope. A paint game at the power forward, right? A center position. A defender in paint work. Could give you paint work, and some of them can jump out and shoot the mid-range. How about the three, the small forward? Well, stretch the floor. Maybe hit the three. Hit the mid-range. Right? Play defense. What about the point guard? A point guard give you 10 plus assists a game. Facilitate. Maybe a good defender on the perimeter. Could hit the three. Could hit the mid-range. What about shooting guard? Can shoot the ball. Can shoot it from the three to mid-range. Right? These are positional skills of every position. And sometimes, a great defender at the shooting guard. I told you guys, as much as Magic won a good defender. This guy won 2 steals title in an era where you had great perimeter defenders. Great players on the perimeter playing defense. And he won 2 steals titles, folks. That's amongst the other things he did at a high level. Rebounding, shooting the ball 50%, shooting the free throws 80+%. Could post up, could give you 10 plus assists. These are high level players, folks. You think Magic Johnson could just all the time dribble the ball up on a half court set after the guy settled like that? No, he would have to a lot of times turn his back to the defender and dribble. That's how great they were at stealing the ball, folks. It ain't like today. You just dribbling all like you want in front of the defender. No. And a lot of times these guys will trap you coming up the damn floor. They're trying to get steals. They're trying to get you to turn over the ball. They're trying to tire you out. They're bodying you up as you come down the damn court. Body to body. Feel sorry for you guys. They changed the game for this guy in every single way. And he still didn't come out on top. And that's why he had to keep playing. That's why he had to keep lifting weights. So he keep playing to get these longevity stats that mean nothing. That meant nothing. Hell, the all-time stat guy is Wilt Chamberlain. We know who the all-time stat guy is Wilt Chamberlain. He did it in dominance. Not in longevity, in dominance. In a shorter period of time. And he played against great competition. You're playing against weak competition and I'm Wilt Chamberlain. I'm going to go build 3 super teams. No. It's ridiculous, folks. So you guys tell me what you think. Yeah, LeBron James destroyed careers of superstars and in the league period. It destroyed the NBA. And that's what it is right now. And I kind of think a lot of these guys got to keep, they don't want to play this kind of basketball. But they've been having to play this coming into the 2020s, especially so LeBron James can keep playing. They tried to do everything they could to accommodate this guy, and he still didn't come out as a dominant player, a winner, a consistent guy. And what's his name? Who was this? Gilbert Arenas yesterday in a debate against Gavin Tack was talking about, Kobe was supposed to be what did he say? He was supposed to be the face of the league. He was supposed to be the best player in the league, but LeBron James won back-to-back. A young LeBron won back-to-back MVPs. So what does that mean? He said that from then on, LeBron was better. So how come he didn't beat them Celtics teams in the Magic team? And on top of that, so you're trying to tell me that Curry won back-to-back MVPs on LeBron while LeBron had a super team in Cleveland. So Curry was the face of the league, right? And all the players that have won MVP since LeBron won his last one, so they're the face of the league. So LeBron James certainly can't be no face of the league since 2013, right? if he hasn't won an MVP since then. So from 14 to 2025, he hasn't won an MVP. So he hasn't been the face of the league since then. If that's Gilbert Arenas' explanation, although we got the videotape of LeBron saying 3 times in 3 different interviews that Kobe was the best player in the league in the 2000s. 3 different interviews. And he said, why? And LeBron said, because of his skills, his offensive skills, his defensive skills, and his leadership. Of course, they didn't want Kobe winning the MVP. Because 1, what he was going through in a criminal case, and 2, Kobe could give a ish about ESPN and all these dudes. He could care less. He could care less. So they didn't like him. But at the end of the day, what he wrote off from 2007 to 2010 proved that he did something LeBron James couldn't do and hasn't done and will never do. He cemented himself in the history books, bringing home the gold in the FIBA. The LeBron era guys couldn't do it against Plumbers. The gold in 2008. LeBron James couldn't do it in the Olympics. Brought home gold in the Olympics because LeBron era guys couldn't do it against Plumbers. And then rolled off 3 straight NBA Finals and won back-to-back against LeBron James teams that beat him, a 3 and 4 seed, while LeBron James had the number 1 seed in the entire NBA in those back-to-back seasons in the MVP, folks. That's embarrassing. And then he crawls to a super team after Kobe does that. That's embarrassing. And that's why they don't have any ratings. Because the NBA was over then. I said it was over in 2007 when he went to the 07 finals, beating 2 500-win teams. Then a team without Ben Wallace was carrying in some of them games in those series in the playoffs, and then melted down like ice in the finals. 22 points per game, 6 turnovers, 31% from 3, 38% from the field. All this crazy nonsense. Who cares if he didn't win? He wasn't supposed to win. But go out there and say, hey, this is a San Antonio team going for 4. Going for 4. But I'm going to show them at 22 years old what Jordan showed the Celtics in the playoffs. I'm going to put something on your head, right? So we can put this in the record books. No, folks. He didn't do that. And most of them games were close. Even though it was a sweep, all he needed to do was maybe put up like 28 points per game, and they could have won. So what they did was they shut down his team, and then they blocked the lane from him driving. That's it. Because they already knew he couldn't shoot. If he could shoot, guess what? They would have to run out to the perimeter and get him. But they just let him shoot from the perimeter, and he was bricking. Or they just made him pass the ball off, and then they shut down his teammates. But what I'm trying to say is the NBA was in big trouble at that point. Remember, this was the king. This was the anointed one. The most high player coming into the NBA. He misses the first 2 seasons his playoffs. Don't make the playoffs. Loses in the damn Olympics where they didn't even let him in the damn game to the Argentinian Ginobili Plumbers without one melanated brother on the team. And then he finally makes the playoffs in 06. Blows a 3-2 lead going back home, which is whatever because he didn't choke, but he wasn't supposed to win. But we look at games 6 and 7, he performed horribly. And then he's in the finals the next season playing nobody. And then melts down. And again, what I'm trying to say is you got a guy that's supposed to be, the next. And he does this in the finals. And guess what? Nobody wanted to see this guy play. Had the lowest ratings ever. And they try to blame it on Tim Duncan. But we can counter that. Okay, Michael Jordan was playing the plumber crew that the LeBron fans say that Jordan played, right? In 97, 98, set the record on viewership. LeBron set a record low on viewership. Nobody wanted to see this guy play. Do you get it? Do you get it, folks? Why? He should have been... I don't care if he didn't get the highest ratings or the second highest ratings. He never should have got the lowest ratings of all time. He never should have got that. Not with his hype. So he should have got good ratings, at least. Okay? But nobody wanted to see this guy. Nobody was dumb back then. Everybody knew he couldn't shoot the 3. He couldn't shoot the mid-range. Couldn't give you no paint work. A fake Magic Johnson. Nobody was fooled. We weren't looking at Kobe Bryant. We're talking about skill players that have certain skills at their position. A Duncan, a Dirk, a Magic, a Jordan, a Pippen, a Barkley, a Malone, a Stockton, a Wilt, right? A Bill Russell. We grew up watching positional basketball. That's what was so great about watching positional basketball. Hakeem, because they had certain skills at their position. A skill isn't dribbling the ball at the three-point line, taking a head start, and barreling into people to do dunks and layups. A skill isn't saying, oh, I'm on Magic Johnson level because I always got the ball as a power forward or a small forward and giving you 7 assists. That's not upper echelon or great. I got skill because I have 7 rebounds. 7 rebounds? What is that? It's not great or upper echelon. Where's this guy's skills? That's why I said the guys who entertain this nonsense, they know nothing about basketball. And the guys that supposed to know something about basketball, the ESPN analyst and a Fox Sports analyst and a Gilbert Arenas and all these guys that take up for him perk, they're all lying, folks, to push these last days of a dying NBA. The last days. LeBron James has been nothing but the entertainment. Kobe checked out, Duncan checked out, Dirk checked out. The last of the Mohicans is over. Positional basketball is over. These international players can't carry it, so they're still continue to put this clown's name in their mouth like he really done did something in longevity, but destroy the game, destroy the competitiveness, destroy superstars' careers, having to play with him, destroy other superstars' careers because they had no other choice but to build super teams, to be competitive, because that's what he does. Rob the Laker fans of all this money. This guy's making all this money. AD's making all this money. And, he gets players over to his team to make all this money, and they do nothing. Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard when he went there the second time with, who was this other guy? Russell Westbrook. Just robbing the LA fans. Robbing the LA fans. Because they're going to have to pay more for tickets, merch, popcorn, hot dogs, alcohol, parking. That's why I said you couldn't do this stuff back in the 90s, the 80s, and 70s. This fan base would have left a long time ago. They would not have entertained none of this nonsense. And now it's done came to a head. It took this long. To now, the NBA is on life support. It's going into MLB ratings. Where you brought in all these international players to be the top 5 players of the league. And they can't sell the game, folks. Ask MLB how they did that. They kicked all the black American players out and brought in all these international players. And boom, when the smoke settled or cleared, with the Barry Bonds steroid scandal, Sammy Sosa, Mark Aguirre, Canseco, guess what? It was no longer an American sport. And those Latinos couldn't sell the game. You need a soap opera, some drama, something. Right? When Dave Winfield was in there, when Dave Henderson was in there, when Andre Dawson was in there, when Kirby Puckett was in there, when Darryl Strawberry was in there, when Doc Gooden was in there, when all these great Ken Griffey Jr. You had some type of soap opera, the Deion Sanders, the Bo Jacksons. You need a soap opera. Nobody just want to watch somebody hit the ball, throw the ball, kick the ball. It don't work like that, folks. You need a soap opera, and it don't have to be bad, but it has to be a soap opera of greatness. Maybe, players being defiant, something. The Latino players can do that because they're not of the American. They can't even speak English in the first place. So how do you put them on McDonald's commercials, Nike commercials, Jersey commercials, all this stuff to relate with the American people? Same thing with the NBA. How do you relate these guys with the American culture and American people? And it's not a knock against the international players because there's always been international players in the NBA, right? But it just can't be all international players. And it's a lot. Now it's just out of hand now. It's just not European players. It's Africans, West Indians, Caribbeans. They done took over the league. And good for them if they don't want to get in trouble or be defiant or nothing like that. But still, it's not selling, folks. They try to sell this LeBron James based on his fake longevity, his shenanigans, and all this stuff just to keep this NBA afloat while they brought in all these international players. And, the smoke is clearing up. It's clearing up. I mean, at least you could have kept the game like it was if you're going to bring in all these international players, made it more defensive, teams stay together, competitive, all this stuff if you was going to bring in these international players. But they couldn't do that, folks. And have LeBron still be the face of this league because he's going to get exposed if they keep in the defense. Because he really has no great skill. No great all-around skill. It's all fabricated. Just sit back and look at it for what it is year by year and forget about what the media is saying because they done made billions of dollars off of a lie. And people should want their money back. Where's my money? You done lied all these years about this guy. And you got to put it too on the NBA, the coaches, the owners, all these people. Because they done made all this money off this big lie. Because these younger people don't know no better. They don't know any better. And when you watch TV, oh, them people on TV, man, they know everything, man. They can't be wrong. They getting paid. It's a lie, folks. Sit back, go look at the numbers, go look at the history, go look at everything. This guy destroyed superstars' careers and destroyed the competitive nature of NBA. Tell me what you think.